have to explore yourself with certain things. For example, I know two people asked me to reset the password. You could have reset the password yourself, because this vCenter is a VM that is running on our server, which is built by Aravind. You know the password to connect to the server, which is actually welcome one, with the username is thing. You are all administrators of this machine, and all your user accounts are here. You could have come here, right click and reset the password. These are general basic Windows understanding. So in fact, let's forget it. You don't know how to do that. You could have tried with administrator. You can still connect to vCenter using administrator, isn't it? So there is a small problem, and if you don't know how to fix it, I don't think that is the right approach. You should definitely try to fix it. Okay. Byron and Raiden, are you guys able to connect? Where you had any issues? Did you try to connect? Are you guys there, Raiden and Byron? Hello guys, you there? I know, Shri, you're there, but nobody else is responding. It's not good. Okay, you cannot talk. Okay. Okay, cool, no problem. So either way, so here is the thing, guys. So practice. You got to see other options. Just there is not one way. There are many ways to do things in computer. That's how it is. So be careful. I mean, just try to do that. So I'm not going to set your password. You guys can try to reset the password. Why don't you do that, Gene? So check it out. If you don't know your password, go to that server. Try to reset your password the way you wanted it, and try to log in. If that doesn't work, try to log in with administrator. Okay, and then if you have problems, let me know. Arvind, I don't know what was your problem. I connected it just now and it worked. I see that the service was running, everything was good. So we were talking about the vCenter server settings here. I wanted to move quickly here. These are I'm just touching. We will be coming back and talking about many things here. But before that, I wanted to move. So we were talking about, mail yesterday. I told you have to give the mail address and the account for sending emails. SNMP is a simple network management protocol. It is a protocol used in the old days. Even today's world, many companies use that. HP OpenView, HP SIM, and many applications actually use this. I'm not going to talk what is SNMP and how it works. Again, it is a great protocol for sending alerts and those kind of information. If you don't know, so when you talk about SNMP, there is something called a community and things like that. Public community, private community. You can give some passwords, but you don't need to know about all those things. All you need to do is talk to your networking guys or whoever it is. What is the SNMP connection to use SNMP? Guys, can you hear me? Okay, I think I have some connection problem. I don't know why it is, but my network connection is getting disconnected. If you see that my sound is breaking, let me know, okay? You can see that I got disconnected from here. Okay, so that is SNMP, the ports. These are the two default ports it uses. You want to connect HTTP at 443. Why is it saying this, man? I don't know. Audio connection having problems. Okay. Hold on a second, guys. I think I have some connection problem. Let me just make sure anything is. You can hear me, right? Somebody has to respond. Okay, you can hear me, right? Okay, but it's like my connection is disconnecting. I don't know why, my server connection. Okay. I'm also audio connection restored and connecting back. Okay, guys, I'm going to disconnect here. I'm going to connect back again. Okay, I'm going to disconnect from GoToMeeting. Stay online. You will be automatically connected. If you don't connect, just log in back. Okay. Actually, only 4 people are connected. So. What happened to others? Did you guys relog in or? Your sound is breaking. Your sound is breaking, Ryder. But I think I am having some problem with my network connection, but for sure, because my RDP connection is actually getting disconnected every 5 minutes. Okay, when you install Vcent, did all the features come with it, or were they installed individually? No, they all came with. They all came at the time of installation. You don't install anything manually. Come on, guys, I'm having a very bad problem with this Vcent today. I don't know what's happening. Okay, let me do one more thing. Logging off from this VM. Okay, Aravind, you can connect. Okay, that's fine. But don't try to do anything on the class now. Okay, let us do this. Okay, and after that you can practice.
The following browsers are supported for version 5. Make sure that your operating system supports Vcent or server. Vcent or
Yes, Sujan, you are listening to
server
video.
requires
That's why Sujan, you installed it, right?
required to the Vcent or server to connect to.
Who put this test again, man? Don't put that, okay? Okay, so let me just go through this quickly here. Hey, Sujan, can you please mute, please?
Yeah,
I will mute you. Okay, so I'm just going through some of the things. These are some timeout settings. There is nothing much here. The normal logging. You saw the logs yesterday, right? You can see that the system logs. How detailed it needs to be logged, you can determine actually here whether you want information logging or you want the complete verbose or what type of errors needs to be logged. You can actually select that. But normally it is actually information log. So here you can make some changes to that. The database, the number of maximum, the connection, the number of connections you want at a time, how many connections can be established is actually decided here. 50 is the default number. You can increase that number if you want. That is the number of connections you can do to a vCenter at a given time. Database retention policy. This is very important thing. vCenter stores all the information in its database. You know that. We have a database. It can be SQL, SQL Express, Oracle database. So how far you want to store this information. For example, performance, CPU utilization, memory utilization, many information it will be storing in the database. How far you want to go. If you don't do any trimming or if you don't do any cleanup, it's basically going to make your database so big and eventually you're going to have more problems. So here you can make some decisions on that, how many days things you want to keep. It's basically not for the performance, this is actually for the tasks and events. So every task, so if Aravind created a VM, deleted a VM, Sri logged in or logged out, or he added a VM, anything you do will be logged in the vCenter. So I just want to show you that if you connect here, I can exactly connect here and tell who all connected here. If you go to these tasks and events, you can see that there are two things. These things are not there when you are on a ESX server. If you click on the event button, I can actually tell who did, you can see that who connected. See, virtual machine, fan, EVM connected. All the information will be here. So you can go back and take all the information also. So I'm just saying. So if you click on a VM, it will have all the information about that particular VM, when that VM was migrated, whether it is vMotion, everything. Okay. I think there is one person, Sri. If you can mute, it will be great. I think there is a sound coming from what you're typing. Sujan, okay, I have to mute you. So Sujan, I have muted you, okay? If you want to talk something, you got to type. So that's the retention policy. If you want the tasks, all the tasks that happen to be retained for 180 days, events to be retained, you can actually do that here, or you can cut that. This is actually good, keep it actually for at least 90 days, I would say, because there may be some incidents. Your audit department may come and ask you, okay, I wanted to see who connected to that VM and things like that. At that point, or maybe because of some troubleshooting, they wanted to know whether the VM vMotioned at that time, whether any migration activity happened at that time. All these things they may want to see. So keeping that tasks and events for a longer period is always good, but 180 days is what they are recommending. At least try to do 90 days. These are some of the advanced settings. Again, I'm not going to go into that. Some, many items are there. Again, working with a VMware administrator or VMware support engineer, I would strongly recommend to work on these things. But some of the things here are actually the same thing. SMTP port. The default SMTP port is 25. If you want to change that, you can actually change that. I'm just giving some examples here. So there are many things. AD, you see that here we went to the properties. You see that in the Active Directory, the maximum users it is going to fetch is 5,000. You can change it here, or you can go to the advanced settings and you can see that AD max fetched. Here the value is there. If you want to change that to 7,000, it is going to do that. So you can do that, but these are only certain values which we know what exactly. But here the details are here. Everything is clearly mentioned what it is for. So you can check that and do. But again, going here and making changes without knowing what exactly could create problems. So be careful and do that. So I strongly recommend not to make any changes here. Okay. So that is just the vCenter server's general settings. These are the settings, the statistics, we talked about it, Active Directory, mail configuration. This is probably the most important thing you may want to look at if you are setting up a vCenter. Now, if you are going to a company that is already having vCenter and all, you don't have to worry about any of these things. Okay. So the storage providers will be talking later, customization you will be talking later, VM storage profiles, host profiles will be talking later. Events, this is just the events, you can see all the events. This is exactly what I told. See, Aravind has did something, user logged in, log on time off, I can find out all the information about which user connected, what has happened, cannot log in. Satya tried to log in today at 5:11. So some people try to log in root, these are all things you can see every event, so that is just an event. You can export that events if you want to a file or something like that, you can do that. These are general things. I'm going to spend time on that. The maps view is another thing. Just want to show you quickly. This is where you can actually see your entire thing in a map kind of view. It will show you the relationship between host and VMs and things. So if you want only the VM and their network, you can select that and see. So you can see that this VM is all these VMs are connected to this port group. These VMs are connected to this port group. If you don't want to that, instead you want to see a VM to data store relationship, do that. It will show you the data store to VM relationship. If you don't want to, you want to know which host if a VM is residing, you can actually do that. It will show you which ESX server is connected. So this is just a view. Sometimes, audit department or any other people come and ask you, oh, hey, you know what, I need to get a picture of your environment, how it looks like. Probably this is an easy place for you to give them what they want. Again, you don't need to do this like this. You can even go to a particular host itself. And you can do that. You can just select a host and get the details of that host and its relationship. Okay, this host is connected to these VMs are connected to this host. 3 of the VMs are up and running. Now you want to know what are the data stores they are related. So you can see that all that VMs are actually this host is connected to all these data stores. Okay, we need to know what are the VMs data stores. Here we go. These 4 VMs are on the local data store. There is one on the ISKC, one on the NFS. So this way you can easily find out. That is it. There is nothing much. So the maps view it can be used for you can make the zooming like this. You can do like that. There is nothing much here to talk. That is just a view of your maps and things like that. Scheduled task, we will talk about that later. There is nothing much. You can run quite some scheduled tasks, but we have to learn what you can do with scheduled tasks. So I will come back here. So what I'm going to talk today, we're going to now start learning some things, okay, really some technologies here. First of all, I wanted to start with snapshots. I know many of you might have heard about snapshots. I actually wanted Fanny to be in the class. I wanted to know what Microsoft way of snapshotting means. So what is a snapshot? Anybody? Can anybody tell me a little bit about what you think is a snapshot, or what is it used for? What is the purpose of it? What is actually a snapshot? It's a very common term in a virtualized environments, taking snapshots, and it is a very common process that happens in a large environments daily. In my office, we have thousands of snapshots happens daily. I'll tell you why, that is later. But what is a snapshot? What is it used for? What can you do with a snapshot? Anybody? I need you guys to speak, okay? Otherwise, I will be talking. Yeah, but it's definitely breaking a lot. Okay, I see some answers. Present state of a VM. I see the point where the data starts to back up. Okay. Capture of data at any given point in time. Okay. In a particular time state of a VM. Okay. All right. So a snapshot is actually a point in time backup, you can say, probably a point in time. If when you take a snapshot, you have that particular point onwards, you have protected whatever is there on the server. So let me just, this is something interesting to understand how this really the snapshot works. So I'm taking a picture here. Let's say, let us say you have a data store here. And in this data store, you have a VM which is having all these files. The VM has many files here. This is VM's folder. Let us just say this is that VM. And the data store has many space, a lot of free space here. This data store has a lot of free space here. This is the data store. And that red one is the VM. So tell me, somebody, when you take a snapshot, what is that? Where is that snapshot? Where do you keep it? How big is that snapshot? Where is it stored? Somebody said it's a backup. Okay, I also said it's a point in time backup. The VM is continuing to run. So where do you keep that backup or whatever it is? Where do you keep that snapshot? Things like that. Okay, let us say the VM's total size of that VM is 50 GB. The VM's total size is 50 GB, including the C drive, the D drive, everything is 50 GB. So if I take a snapshot of that VM, what will be the size of that snapshot? Where will I store that snapshot? Things like that. Can anybody answer that? Who is Samrat is there, right? Yeah. Hey, Samrat, by the way, I got your check. Okay, I forgot to tell you that. Sorry about that. I got it actually 2 or 3 days back. Now, why I remembered your name is I know you are a SAN guy. In SAN environments, there is a lot of snapshots happening. It's again pretty much the same technology, snapshotting. So, can you add something here? I didn't hear anything from you. Samrat, you there? Okay. I mean, guys, the thing is, let me very frankly tell you, okay, the class is, if you want to get really stuff from me, then you got to make me trigger it, okay? If you don't do that, I can finish off the snapshot in 5 minutes. But, I'm just putting to make some interest from you guys, but I don't hear anything, that's not good. Anyway. So this is what it is. So snapshot, let me show you. So this is nothing like, the snapshot means there is nothing to store somewhere. It is not going to be the size. Snapshot is a whole different concept. So once you understand the snapshot, you will be surprised to see what the heck is that, So we'll see what snapshot is, how snapshot works. So I will explain this coming back to the picture. So let me go and show a VM. See, this is a Windows 2003 VM. I think Sri has built it. I think it will have the operating system. Let's see. Okay, it has an operating system here. I hope welcome. One is the password. That's good. Yes, installed VMware tools. Everything is perfect. So this is a VM, correct? This VM is on ESX server 95. I'm going to minimize this for a minute. I'm going to 95. Go to the summary of this VM. I'm going to see where this VM is located. It is on local storage 95. The local storage has 54.21 GB of free space is there. It has a capacity of 131 GB, 54 GB is free space. I'm going to browse that data store, and I'm going to that Windows 2003 3_100 the VM. This is that VM, and the VM's files are here. If you explore this VM, I can see that it has a 20 GB hard disk, which is the VMDK file. You can see that. It has a VMX file. It is 2.75 KB and some other files, VMX file, that file is actually for some snapshot featuring. We'll look into that. The NVRAM file, which is what? What is NVRAM file? Come on, guys, quickly. BIOS. Okay. So what is the vSwap file? There's a swap file. What is this? VSWP file. Swap space. What is a swap space? Created after a VM started. What is that actually? What is it used for? RAM. No. It's not the RAM. It is not the RAM. It is equal to the size of the RAM. That's correct. But that is actually used as a virtual memory. So guys, please read about virtual memory. Okay. What is virtual memory? What is the use of virtual memory? If you guys are you guys familiar with the page file on a Windows server? If you go to the Windows server, go to the advanced setting and go to the performance tab, advanced, you can see there is something called as virtual memory. This is in old days, it's actually 1.5 times the size of the memory, but now those concepts are gone. But this is what virtual memory is. You can configure that for both the drives. You can do that. This is something you should definitely know. Okay, if you are going for a job, whether it is VMware, Linux or anything, virtual memory, what is it and how it is used, absolutely you should know. If you don't know that, I don't take you to my team. If you are coming to an interview for my team and if you don't know what is virtual memory, I don't take you. When I talk about virtual memory, I may ask you may question paging. What is paging? Anybody know what a paging means? It's a process that happens in computers. What is paging? But then I may ask you, when I talk about paging, I may ask about what a page file is. Then there is non-pool page. There are different type of things. So definitely try to do a research. Wikipedia has everything. Research on that and try to understand what is virtual memory. Okay, these are things I'm not going to teach. But what is virtual memory? Why is it used? When it is used? What is the advantage of it? And things like that. So every computer has a virtual memory. This one. So if you go to this one, it will be a hidden file. You can see that there will be a file called pagefile.sys. This is that page file. This is actually a small portion of the hard disk that is going to be used as a temporary memory. It may not be as fast as your actual memory, but this will be used when the server or the computer is running out of memory, the real memory. Anyway, that is what the purpose of the swap file. Every VM will have a swap file which will be equal to the size of the VM. Okay, so that is the VM. I'm not going to talk about those things. These are all things we discussed since again I asked. So these are the components of a VM. Let me ask you one more question to understand how much you guys understand. When do a VM creates a new log file? See, now this is the current log file, and this VM has another log file. When does it create this log file? When did it decide, okay, I'm going to create a new log file? Is it because when it becomes 100 MB or starting? What do you mean by starting? I didn't understand. When the VM was created, okay. When the VM is rebooted, good. When it is created, okay. Any other answers? I need clear answers, guys. You know, these are things I clearly told you, not one time, maybe 2 or 3 times I pressed. Go back to the recordings and try to find out, okay? These are the type of questions sometimes I ask, you know, then I know whether the guy knows it or not. Every time a VM is powered off and powered on, that is when a new log file is created. If you reboot a VM, you are not rebooting the VM actually. You know that. You are rebooting the guest OS inside. You think that you are rebooting the VM, but you are rebooting the guest OS. This is a file, a log file, nothing to do with your operating system. It's a VM's log file. A new log file will create every time you power off and power on a VM. Okay? All right, so let's get on to the snapshot thing. So this is that VM. We have it here. The Sri VM, you saw that VM's files, everything. Okay? Now what I'm going to do here is just to show, I'm not going to spend too much time here. I'm going to create a folder here called before underscore snapshot. Okay, so I created a folder called before underscore snapshot. That means I just wanted to show you that I have taken a snapshot. Now I'm also inside that thing, I'm going to create a file. Let me create a text file called before underscore snapshot underscore 1.txt. This is the file we created before the snapshot. Okay, so I created this file, I saved this file, everything is fine. If you open this, you can see that the text is there, this is there, everything is good. Okay, now this is the current state of my VM. My Windows server is there, and there is saying, okay, updates are ready for installation. I'm going to click here, and it says there are so many Microsoft updates are updated. I'm going to apply all these Microsoft patches to this server. That is what the decision. This is a very critical server in terms of the business. This is a Windows 2003 server running very critical application. I don't know, but I'm going to apply some patches. But I don't know after the patching, you know, what is going to happen to the server. It may come back, it may not reboot, it may blue screen. Sometimes it may break my application, things like that. That is where the snapshot is going to help you. If you have taken a snapshot prior to applying these changes, and if there is a problem, just the click of a button, you can go back to the old stage without any problems. And that is what the beauty of snapshot is. So snapshot is a point in time backup of your VM, which will allow you to go back to that good state if there is a problem. So in my office and all, it's always a practice that we do backup snapshots before we make any changes. In old days, remember, if you have a physical Windows server, you want to update a driver, you want to install a software, you don't know what is going to happen. If it crashes, then you have to troubleshoot that problem. But in a Windows world, in a VMware world, you know, or on a virtualized world, it's much more easier. Before making the snapshot, making the change, you take a snapshot. So I'm not going to install anything here because we don't have time, but you guys can try. So what I'm going to do is I have this thing. So right now this is my current setting. So I'm going to take a snapshot of this VM now. How do I take a snapshot? To take a snapshot, there is actually an icon called here. Take a snapshot of this virtual machine. You can do it using this, or you can go to the VM tab, go to snapshot, take snapshot. Either one is fine. It will come with like this. So you can do like this, or you can do like this. First thing you need to do is give it a name. So I'm going to call it as base underscore 001. That is my base VM. This is my good VM. I'm taking that's a base. This is the original state of the VM before making the changes. Oh, I did a mistake, guys. Okay, hold on a second, okay? It is taking a snapshot now, but it is going to take some time now. It is taking a snapshot, but this is not correct. Let us wait for that to happen. I accidentally pressed enter. That should not be the case. Okay, let it finish, and we'll do that. I did the same mistake in my last class also. It's going to take some time, but that's not the way we have to do it. No, you cannot cancel it. Once you take a snapshot, you cannot cancel it. I think there is an option to cancel. I don't think you can cancel it. See that? What is it doing is it actually taking a snapshot of the memory also. This VM, I believe, has too much memory. That's why. Okay, it completed the snapshot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually coming and deleting all this snapshot. I don't want the snapshot. Okay. All right. So we are back to where we are. The server, whatever happened, you just forget. Okay, whatever has happened is just happened. Don't worry about it. This is our base VM. No snapshots, nothing. So I'm coming here. I'm going to take a snapshot. So there's a checkbox that says snapshots the virtual machine memory. When I press enter, actually it started taking the memory. So we don't want to take memory snapshot now. That is actually a contents of the actual memory. This computer's memory is currently having some data. That's why you're seeing this screen. That's why you're seeing this memory. We'll talk about that. So this option will take a backup of the memory content also. It is actually heavily used when people are doing device driver testings and all. They want to know what particular code at what point it crashed. So they normally do that. What is there in the active memory. So this is actually heavily used in the development environment, but we don't need to do that. So I'm going to call it as base underscore 001. That is my base. I'm going to give it a name. This is the base image of the VM before taking taking the first snapshot. Okay. So this is the thing, don't worry about it. I'm going to take a snapshot. Now you can see that how fast it is going to happen. It is creating virtual machine snapshot. It will be much faster in real environment. Okay, my environments are not that, so, but it is done. The snapshot is completed. So now if you go to that VM, you can see that now there is a new icon has come here. You see that this icon has become highlighted. And if you go here, this is called as a snapshot manager. If you click on that snapshot manager, you can see that this is the snapshot we created, base 001. This is this was the original VM, but this is the current state of the VM we have backed up, and you are currently here. So if you type on that snapshot, you can see the details, the name of the snapshot. You can see the details of it. Typically, I would give my name also so that when somebody looking at it, they know who took that snapshot. So that is that snapshot. So we created a snapshot of this VM. So when we say I took a snapshot of a VM, means I took a backup of that server, right? Now I'm going to make some changes to this VM. Maybe I can install something, I can uninstall something, things like that. So let's go there and do something. I'm going to the control panel, add remove programs. Now I'm going to uninstall the VMware tools. So now what I'm doing here, you have to listen to me very carefully to understand this, okay? I have taken a snapshot. So I have stored somewhere. I will show you where I stored that and all, but I will talk about that. But I have now a good snapshot. We saw that. That is here. That good snapshot is this base one. If I can go back to here, but right now I am in this state. I passed that base level and now I am here. And this level is where I am doing all this nonsense. I'm uninstalling the thing. I'm making changes to the VM, correct? I'm uninstalling something. It is popping up something. I don't care about what it is. So I uninstall the thing. It is completing. See now all this found new hardware and all is coming because we are uninstalling the VMware tool. That's why. So VMware tools is nothing but a set of drivers, right? It has drivers for network, mouse, video, all those drivers are there. So you are saying you must restart the server to take effect. You want to restart, we can restart. That's it. Let's go ahead and do a restart. So you know that now I have uninstalled VMware tools. I have made some changes and it asks me to restart. Who knows, the operating system is going to come up. It may blue screen. So let us look at that now. Let us try to log into this VM. Okay, I'm going to log in here. And if you log in, you can see all these things are coming up. These were all there before also. But one thing you can see that the VMware tools icon is no more there. Our folder is there. That's fine. We didn't do anything to that. But you can see that my mouse movement is also now pathetic. VMware tools is uninstalled. Any doubt? We can go to add remove programs and check that again. And now my mouse movement is very problem because I have removed the VMware tools. So you can see that it's clearly the add remove program. Okay. Now I am thinking, my God, I wanted it back. I wanted to be on that good state. What can I do? How can I go back to that state? Which state? A state where I have this folder. Inside this folder, I have that text file, everything, and also VMware tools. So I want to go back to that good old state. It is very easy to do that. I can go back to my, here you see that there is an option in the middle, revert to current snapshot. I can do that, or I can go to the snapshot manager and I can say go to that base. If now I am here, now I am standing here. Okay, can somebody tell me what is in this state? What is there in my contact? Do I have VMware tools in this state? Yes or no? Do I have that folder called before underscore snap in this state? Okay, but in this state, do I have VMware tools? Do I have this folder? I have everything. So if I go back to this state, I will have everything. So I can actually go to that state if I want to now. Before going, let me go back to the VM's state and show you something here. Now what happened to the snapshot, right? We took a snapshot of that VM. So this was that VM's folder. I have shown you all that folder and all before. Now look carefully here. You're going to see some new files here. Okay, here we go. Are you seeing any new files in this folder, or is it same? Can anybody tell me what are the new files you are seeing? Okay, actually it created, this is the snapshot manager file. I told you this is that snapshot manager. This is actually a database that stores this information, and you take a snapshot, what is showing here, this information, the state and all that picture and that image, that is what is called as a snapshot manager database. The snapshot manager database is this. And you can see that there is a new disk file, a new VMDK file has been created. The original VMDK file of that VM is this. But there is a new file has created called Windows 2003 underscore 3 underscore 100 underscore 000001. And that VMDK file, that is a virtual disk file. And it says the size of that file is only like 93 KB. Not 93 KB, 93 MB. Provision size, I will talk to you when we get into this little bit more storage, right? And I mean, good question. It's a very good question. I will talk about that. Provision storage, I will explain. But let us give, when I talk about thin provisioning, thick provisioning, I will talk about it. Okay. Let us talk about this for now. So 99 MB is what that size of the VMDK file. Now I'm telling that is the snapshot file. Actually the snapshot is that. So you expected or you thought when I'm taking a snapshot, we are taking a complete backup of the whole VM's file that includes this 20 GB file and keeping it somewhere, isn't it? That is what you all said. It will be stored in data store, it will be stored in NAS or wherever it is. But that is not the concept. A snapshot means a point in time backup. So how does that work? That is what I'm going to explain, and then we will come back here. Okay? So look at this picture here. You understand this. It created a new VMDK file. That is the key thing here. And this is nothing but there is nothing much thing to this file. This file is containing that information database. That snapshot manager is what that is called as VMware. VMSN is means the snapshot manager. So this is the file it created. Okay. Now I'm going to explain this in a little bit more depth. So what happens is this. Let us say you have a data store. I'm putting bigger picture here. So let us say this is your data store. Inside this data store, let us say I have a VM, and that VM is our 20 GB VM, saying that 20 GB VM has taken this much space now. So this is my 20 GB VM, okay? And remaining, I have this much space here. In this 20 GB VM, what all files will be there inside that? Let us draw that files in a yellow color. I mean, there will be a VMX file, correct? There will be some log files. There will be some other VMSN file, vswap file, and things like that. What is the biggest file here? The 20 GB VMDK file, correct? So this is the 20 GB VMDK file. Are you getting what I'm trying to tell you here? Okay, listen to this, okay? This is the 20 GB file. And this is all it is. So all together, let us say this VM has taken probably around 20, I would say 21.5 GB. 21.5 GB. Why 21.5 GB is, I'm just assuming that this VM has 1 GB RAM. So the swap file itself will come to 1 GB. The 20 GB hard disk is 20 GB. So 20 plus 1, 21. And then 0.5 GB is all other small files. It's not going to be 0.5 GB, believe me, but I'm just giving an example. So this is my current VM. I'm running this VM. The VM is having all the things, and we have in that hard disk, we saw that that folder which Deepu created. Inside that folder, there is the text file which Deepu created. We have the VMware tools here. All these things inside the disk, right? I'm just saying that is the VM. This is when I'm taking a snapshot. Are you all on with me on now? This is the current state of the VM, and I'm going to take a snapshot. When I'm going to take a snapshot, this is what happens. VMware creates, or the ESX server creates, 2 new files inside this folder. One is a small file which is called as the VMSN file, and then it creates a disk file, a VMDK file, which is 0 KB. 2 files will be created. One is this file, which will be like 27 KB or something like that. That is the VMSN file, the first one. Let me put it in color for that VMSN file. That is the VMSN file. And the second file is, let's say, that, let me give it a click. This is the and that green one is the disk file. So it created a VMDK file and a VMSN file, a snapshot manager file. The size of the VMDK file is 0 KB. I just took the snapshot. I didn't do anything. I just took the snapshot. So 10 o'clock in the morning, I took a snapshot. We are talking about the 10 o'clock time. Now, 10:05, I am going to do some work on that VM. I'm going to uninstall some stuff. I'm going to install some stuff. I'm going to delete some files. I'm going to do some crazy work. When I'm doing this crazy work on that VM, I'm making changes to that VM, isn't it? I'm deleting some files, I'm moving some files, I'm adding some files. It could be an installation, it could be manual deletion, it could be anything. But I'm making changes to the hard disk of that file. So in the storage perspective, when you talk, you have to now take your thinking a little bit more back to the storage level. When I'm making changes to the VM, or when I'm making changes to that operating system, in the back end, actually you are making changes to small blocks inside your storage. That means this is your actual VMDK file. You are making changes in this storage. You may be deleting some stuff, adding some stuff and all. So VMware can track those blocks that are getting changed. It does not check whether what file is changed or this file is changed, that bit is changed. No, it's not doing that. It is checking what blocks are getting changed. Let us say a block is getting changed in this hard disk somewhere here. Before that blocks get changed, it makes a copy of that block and put it into this disk. Only a copy, okay? Okay, let it be there. So like that, whenever you are doing changes here, you are adding or deleting, this is going to get bigger. Which one? This disk is going to get bigger. Let us say this VMDK file now become 200 MB. So 200 MB is the size of this particular VMDK file. That means you have made changes inside the original VM somewhat like 200 MB. Okay? Now listen. So the changes, all the changes you made, actually it's our block level change. All the changes you made are here now, stored here. It's actually not on this original VM. The original VM is still there, it is protected, nothing is happening on the disk. All the changes are actually happening here. Now, you decided, hey, you know what? I don't want this, I want to go back to my good state. Now, when you're looking at your VM, you see that the VMware tools is not there. You know, this text file is deleted, that is deleted, Deepu screwed up everything, but I want everything back. At that point, when you say revert back to snapshot, means what it does is, where is all the changes you made after the snapshot? All the changes you made after the snapshot is here, right? In this one, right? Yes or no? All the changes you made are here, right? It will just delete this file. It will just delete this file. If it deletes this file, what is remaining here? The original state, correct? That is what a snapshot is. So a lot of people think that snapshot is something big, a snapshot will take. That is why a snapshot took 2 seconds to finish, because it just created that new disk, and going forward after a snapshot, all the changes are going to be added to this new disk. If you say, oh, you know what, I don't want that changes, it will just discard this disk file. Okay, let us try that first. Okay, I know you might have not understand it clearly, but let us come back here. Wait and let me see a radio question. When does that apply the file say if you wanted to keep the change? Okay, that is the second state of it. Good question. We will talk about it. Let us talk about this first state now. Okay. Now you see this file. Let us go back here. What is the size of this file? Look at carefully, okay? Very, very carefully you should look at. I cannot take a snapshot, but look at it. This file is 99.328 GB. That means this is that VMDK file, the new snapshot file. This file is 99 MB because after the snapshot, you made some changes. I uninstalled VMware tools. That VMware tools uninstallation has made many blocks in that server changed. In that VM, many blocks get changed. Those blocks contains around 99 MB. So all the changes that you have done after the snapshot is here. And this is your original disk. There is nothing happened to this disk. This disk is at that point of snapshot. This is what it is. The changes, all the changes you made after that is stored here. But when you see the VM, you see them as one VM. There is nothing, there is no disk and all, but you will be seeing it has one operating system, but in the back you understand that what you are seeing now here is a combination of this and this together. So all the changes you made is here now. Okay, let us go back. I know it's not easy to understand, but you will understand it. Now I've decided, oh, you know what, I don't want to do that. I want to go back to my base level. So I'm here now with many changes, but I'm saying I want to go to my base. I'm not removing the snapshot. I'm keeping that snapshot here, but I'm going back to my base state. So go to, then it says the current state of the virtual machine will be lost unless it has been saved in a snapshot. If I want to save the current state, that means a state without VMware tools, I can take now a snapshot. Instead of this, I can now do one more snapshot. I can take another snapshot if I want to. I'm not going to do that. It will confuse you. So let us do this. I'm going back to the base now. That means when I go back to the base, all the changes in this state will be gone. That is what it is saying. Current state of the VM will be lost. Current state of the VM will be lost means in this picture, where is the current state is stored, or the changes that made is stored. That is here, correct? This is the changes, right? So all these things are going to be lost. That is what it is saying. Let us see what happens. I'm going to say yes. You can see that the VM is getting closed. It is going to reset because it discarded all the changes. Let us see what happens. I have to power on the VM. The snapshot is still there. Okay, I didn't remove the snapshot. Now I am here, same state, but in this state I don't have anything. Let us see. The snapshot is still there. It's coming up now. See, this is the way you to understand snapshot. Okay, I can finish snapshot in 2 minutes doing this and going back, but you have to understand from the back of it how exactly snapshot works. Very important, because when you get on to real troubleshooting of storage levels, troubleshooting and all, it will definitely help you if you know all these things to that level of depth. Yes, it is required to reboot the VM if you are reverting back. Yes. Because the memory also changed, correct? Everything changed on the VM. You want to get back to the good state. So that's what it is doing. So let us see what happens. Okay, so the VM is back on. I'm going to log in as welcome one. Let us look at there is VMware tools or not. That is the first thing we need to see. Right, because we reverted back, correct? Where is the icon? Yeah, here we go. You see that? We uninstalled VMware tools, isn't it? And now we have VMware tools. If you have doubt, you can go to the control panel, add remove programs, and make sure that it is there. VMware tools is there. So you go back to the state. Okay, so this is what a snapshot is. This is what the advantage of snapshot is. You got back. You can see that your file, everything is there. Okay, good. Now, let us go back to the files. I'm going to refresh it. Okay, this is not changed. I'm going to refresh this page now. I'm going to use this icon to refresh it. Look at very carefully what's happening on this file. That file has been deleted and a new file has been created called as 002, and that file size is somewhat around 32 KB. That is the normal size. So what has happened now is this. Where is that 99 MB file? because you discarded that changes. And a new file is created because you still have a snapshot. Now I'm going to create a new folder here. I'm going to create another new folder here. I'm going to delete this folder. I'm going to delete this one. And I created two new folders. Now Deepu is saying, you know what, I don't want that. I wanted my old file back. I want it. So now the changes I made, the deletion, all these things are stored here, correct? In this snapshot file. If I refresh this now, you can see that the size of this might have increased a little bit because I made some small changes on it. I'm going to refresh. You can see that 33,792 might have become 33,800 something. Let's see. Okay, that change was very small, so it didn't make any change. Let me make one more change, a huge file copy. Let me do something here. So I'm just making a copy. Again, it's a change in folder file system. I just made a 69 MB file change. Look at this file size now. See, that becomes 93 now because I made a big change in the storage. Okay, whatever. I made some change. Now Deepu is saying, I want to go back to my good old state. What should I do? Revert back to current snapshot. What is my current snapshot? This one. Okay, I'm going to revert back. I'm not doing it this way. You can see that I'm going to revert back. It is going to delete all the content because the changes I made are stored here. My original disk is this. So when I'm saying revert back to means I'm going back to my original disk. This is my current state. My new states, the changes between the snapshot and after that is stored here. When I revert back, it is going to discard all these contents. That is what happening. So I'm going to say revert back to snapshot. It's again going to do the same thing. It's going to power off. And you have to start it manually. Okay, so I'm powering it off. So I'm done with it. Let me go here. It is going to come back. I'm going to refresh this VM. And now you see, it's gone. But it created now a new file here with 1 KB size. You can see that it created a new engine because you still have that snapshot still persist there. Now this is the original file. The original file is still there, but it created a new snapshot file. Whatever was in that is discarded because you don't need it. So the VM is back on. Okay, hold on with your questions. I know you will have questions, but just hold on. Let me just show this. So now you can see that I'm back to normal again. I have my VMware tools there. I have my before snapshot is game. Whatever folders I created after that, they're all gone. I got back to my good state. If you refresh now, you can see that the size is more increased now, probably a little bit more. Okay. So it becomes more because VM is changing. You don't know. We don't see any changes, but inside new log files will be created. New temp files will be created. These are all changes, and that's why that file is getting changed. Okay, don't think that, oh, why is it changing? People didn't do anything. No, it's not that. In the back of the VM, there are changes happening. Okay, that's why this file is getting changed. If you refresh it, you can see that the size is going. See, it becomes 33,790. Any questions anybody have on this particular state? We will talk about the other option which Raiden asked in a minute. But any questions on creating a snapshot and going back to that snapshot? Whatever changes you made, you're reverting back to the original state. You know what is happening, correct? From this picture, is that clear, guys? Okay. Now let's do another thing. Now I'm going to say, I'm going to create a folder. I still have a snapshot here, okay? I still have my snapshot here. This is my snapshot. And I'm current state. So now I have my new snapshot file. If I refresh it, this is my new snapshot file. Sorry, where is this? This one. This is my snapshot disk file. If I make changes to this VM, now let us say I'm going to install some Microsoft patches to this VM. Which of this file will increase? The size of which file will get increased? If I make changes to this VM. Guys, if I make changes to this thing, this one, okay, the one that is selected, this one is going to get space change, because any change I am doing here is going to be accumulated on this disk file. Okay. So there is a big security risk here. This file can grow up to the size of 20 GB. Why that is means that is the actual size of the disk. See, one person can make only changes to the size of the hard disk, right? This is your hard disk size. So many changes you can do. Let us say you can wipe the hard disk and put something new, but still you can only make 20 GB changes. That is why this provision space means this file can grow up to 20 GB. So let us say I am not going to delete this snapshot. I'm keeping this snapshot forever. And I'm going to use this server for my production use. I'm creating new folder called, project _1. And I'm creating another folder called project _2. I'm going to make some other changes, whatever it is, I'm making a notepad shortcut here. This is the thing. So I said, okay, I don't want that security thing. Delete it. Okay, this is what I want now. I made some changes. Now what's happening? I made changes, so this file will be growing. Okay, it is growing slowly. Let us say if I keep on doing this, adding things after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, what is going to happen? Only thing that happens from a OS perspective, you don't see any problem. The VM is fine. If you're RDPing, you don't even see these icons. For you, this is your server. Everything is great. Absolutely fine. But as a VMware administrator, I know the pain. You had a snapshot, and because of that snapshot, there is a new file, which is a VMDK file, and that file is growing. Today it was 33 MB. Tomorrow it is 1 GB. After tomorrow it is 2 GB. After a month it is 5 GB. It can keep on growing because all the changes are stored in this file. Why? After 3 months, who knows if Deepu come back and say, you know what, I want to go back to that October 10th state. It should be in a position to do that because you have a snapshot. So it will never write to the original disk. It will keep all the changes in this disk. And this can grow big. Now when this grows big, what happens? We draw this inside. That is not actually the correct picture. Let me delete that. This is that whole thing is the 20 GB file. Now you created a new file which is growing day by day by day. It is growing, correct? After 10 days or 15 days, let us say, that file has become 10 GB size. Now your VM has taken how much space? This much space. So keeping snapshots is a very, very, very bad thing. Okay? Snapshots are good. It's a blessing. It is always good to have snapshots, but do not keep snapshots for a longer time because snapshots have this bad habit of growing. It can grow and eat up all your storage. This is only one VM. If you have multiple VMs on a data store, just imagine your data store may only have 10 GB free space. And if you have 5 VMs and if you take backups or snapshots of all that 5 VMs, those 5 VMs can quickly in a day or two can finish off that whole storage. when the storage is 100% full, there is no more space in the data store, what happens? Can anybody tell me? There is absolutely no more space on the data store. Do you think the VMs will be all right? Why it is not all right? Because the VM is already created, they are running, they have the VMDK files, they have the memory, everything is there. So why do you think it is not all right? No space to run application. That is not an answer, Arvind. No space to run application means application, everything is running inside that VMDK file, that 20 GB, that is nothing. No. Nothing. The virtual memory will be 0. No, virtual memory is already configured. When you power on a VM, the virtual memory is already created. That is not the thing. It won't have space to save the changes. Yeah. Anyway, the thing is, some files in this has to change. One of the file that get changed is the log file, right? The log file gets updated. That is the file that's in. So if the log file, there is no space, means that there is no space for the log file. See, if this log file is 103 KB now, just imagine. Imagine that this data store, that is local underscore data store underscore 95, don't have a single KB space left. VM is running now, fine. But the VM wants to write something to the log file. Can it write? If it wants to write to make it to 104K, there is no space. And that is when the VM hangs. Not only this VM, all the VMs will hang because there is no space in the data store. So be careful with the snapshots. That's what I'm trying, because snapshots has the tendency to grow. It can create problems, but snapshots are a blessing that we will talk. So here is the thing now. I made some changes to the VM and we can see that the snapshot file is now increased. Things like that. Okay, good. But I don't want to keep this snapshot. I have this snapshot. I don't want to keep that snapshot. I took that snapshot because I thought when I'm creating these folders, it may create some problem. But now it's been a day or two. I'm confident that my VM is good. I want to keep all these things as it is. I want to keep it as it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I'm done with these things. I'm done everything. I'm going to delete this snapshot. Now I'm not going to revert. I'm going to delete the snapshot. How many snapshots I have now? I have only one snapshot, correct? And my current state is this. My current state is having, what is the difference between the snapshot and my current state? What is the difference between the current state and my snapshot? Not on the VMDK file. Current state has 3 more files. Yeah, these 3 folders. That is the thing. The current state has these 3 folders. Base state didn't have these folders. So that 3 folders, and I deleted one file also here. Remember? Yeah, I deleted that shortcut here. So those are the 4 changes I actually made. And those changes are stored inside this file. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you know what, hey, delete this snapshot. I don't want the snapshot. You can say delete or you can say delete all. Either one is fine. So this is going to say this will consolidate and remove all snapshots for this virtual machine. All the snapshots will be consolidated to a single disk. Do you want to continue? What that means is this. I cannot do that now. I'm going to say, I'm not going to say yes, I'm going to say no. When that means is this is what is going to happen. The new changes are now on this, correct? When I said want to delete the snapshot, if it deletes this file, what happens? If I delete this file, what happens, guys? The changes will get deleted, correct? So before doing that, what VMware will do is, the contents of this disk will be written to this disk, and it will delete this file and this file. Now everything will be in this file because it's a block level changes only. The size of this is not going to be increased. These are block changes. That changes will be applied to the original disk. Let us see what happens. I'm coming here, delete all, yes, close. Now you can see if you go back to the ESXR, you can see that it's removing the snapshot. It will take some time now because it has to write everything from the snapshot disk file to the base disk file. And this is what Raiden asked me earlier. Okay, it completed. You can see that the icon has become normal. Where is our VM? This is our VM. You see that the snapshot thing has gone. If you go to the snapshot manager, there is nothing here. There is no snapshots here. Is there any snapshot? No. Now let's go back to the disk. Take a look at here. I'm going to refresh it now. Look at this thing, okay? These two files are going to go away now. I'm going to refresh it. Going to go away means what has happened? It's already done. It's not refreshed. That's why. Basically, all these contents of this file is returned to the thing. So I'm going to refresh it. Is there any snapshot file or any other disks now there? So when you delete that snapshot, all the changes you made, which was stored in that snapshot disk file, will be get written into the base disk. That is how it is. So now you are back to normal. Now if you tell me, hey, you know what, I need that snapshot, that file, no way to get it because you don't have a snapshot. You committed that changes to the base disk. Now it is done. There is no more snapshot. So you can take snapshots. You can take snapshots. Don't take the memory snapshot. It will take time. So you can take a snapshot one. It will be fast. You can see that, one snapshot. And then I'm going to delete some stuff here. Then I can go here and then I can go here and I can take another snapshot. Snap 2. Then I can come here and delete these 3. And I can take another snapshot. Not a recommended solution, but I'm saying, if you're a developer and all, you can do that. Now I have taken 3 types of snapshots. Now if I go to the thing, you can see the first one, the second one, the third snap. Do you want to go back to the first state? You can. You want to go to the second state? You can. You can do like that anytime, but in that time all you have to remember every time. Now you have 3 snapshots, isn't it? How many snapshots are here now? 3, correct? Let's go and look at the files now. You will be surprised to see now this. Look at this, how many snapshot files it created. For each snapshot it created, and you can also see that as soon as you take snapshot, the size, the number will be incrementing. 5, 6, and 7 because we already taken 3. The database is keeping that information. So now you have 3 snapshots. That's why you have 3 additional disk files, and you have the 3 additional snapshot manager files. The changes will not get accumulated in all the snapshots. The changes will get accumulated only on the last one, which is this one. Because you are in this state now. The last one is the disk file. These are all fixed now. So if you delete this, all the changes will be returned to this one. If you delete this, all the changes will be returned to this one. It's like that. That's how it goes. Okay. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go back to my original state. And do like that. Okay. So I can also delete all the snapshots. If I delete all the snapshots, it will go. Okay. I just deleted. Okay, so I think you understand what that means. So we removed everything, so you can see that everything is back. See again, I refreshed it because there is no more snapshot. The VM is back to its original state. So this is what a snapshot is. Guys, it's very important. See, I only gave you a probably from a thing. You have to read about it. Go to Google. There is a lot of documentation that talks much more detail. But now you know what it is. It is very easy to read and understand. And you have to read, okay. See, this KB has everything actually. And there are many people written in different ways, so you can actually try to understand that. So here it is explaining everything about a snapshot, how the snapshots work, the disk chain, how the physical, actual disk, the VMDK file, and how the VM 002, 003 changes made, what sector is changing. If you can read that, it will be great. That's a great thing to do that. So read about it, try to understand. Snapshot is not, many people still don't know the exact concept. And this is the same concept that is used in storage also. In storage technology, you take snapshots. It doesn't mean that they are taking a whole backup, no? So your concept has changed now, right? People think that, even in my office, people soft kill teams, our finance guys, they call and say, hey, Deepu, can you take a snapshot? They used to call me in the past. I still remember, hey, Deepu, can you take a snapshot? Hey, Deepu, how much time it will take? Can it be done in 2 hours? Because they are thinking that Deepu is going to take a complete backup of their huge server. Am I doing that? I can finish off that snapshot in 2 minutes, right? Isn't it, guys? That is the difference. And I don't do that also. If they say, Deepu, can you take a snapshot in the night at 2 o'clock in the night? I don't get up at 2 o'clock in the night. This is what I do. I go to schedule task, new, create a snapshot of the virtual machine, click next. I want to take the snapshot of Ubuntu VM, next. Ubuntu. Do you want to take memory snapshot? I don't want. Give it a name for the task. Where you want to do it? Okay, I want to do it at a later time, 10:58, or let's do it at 10:59. It's not 10:59. Okay, the time is wrong actually on the Vcent server. That's why. You want to send an email after that? Okay, just send it to deepu@abc.com. Okay, this mail will come only if you have that mail thing configured. Do that, and I will go home and sleep. 2 o'clock in the morning, I will get an email. My BlackBerry will ring. I can see that, okay, whether the snapshot happened or not. If it didn't happen, probably I may have to get up. So that is what scheduling is do. So this is why I said we can come back. So now you understand what is snapshot. You can schedule snapshots. And like that, we are going to learn many other things. Deploy virtual machine, migrate, clone, and all lot of things you can do. But we will look into that. But this is how you schedule a snapshot. You can run it now. See now, I just running. See, create virtual machine snapshot. See here. I have scheduled it, but I'm running it manually. See, it completed. Now, if you go back to Ubuntu VM, you can see that there is a snapshot, and that is this snapshot. See, snapshot underscore Ubuntu. Clear? Okay, so that's correct, right? What you said was correct. Who said that? I'm sorry. Right, yeah, that is correct. Changes applied to the files after the creation. That's correct. So that is what it is. So let me show you one more thing, and then we'll stop today. Okay. I mean, any topic in coming days is going to be a topic per day, because these are all very not lengthy, but if you want to understand it, it needs time. So that's fine. So this is what a snapshot is. I think that is clear, right? Now what I'm going to show you is that I wanted to just give you an idea about what is memory snapshot. Before doing memory snapshot, let me power off this VM one more time. Okay. I'm going to make a small change to this VM's memory because I don't want to waste time. So I'm going to make its memory to be around 256 MB. I hope Windows Server will boot with 256 MB. Let us see. Okay, I'm starting this server now with 256 MB memory. Actually, that's enough for Windows Server to run. Let's see. All right, so this is my VM. Okay, so this is our current state. Everything is there. Okay, fine. There are some errors. Don't worry about it. So I'm going to open a notepad here. Okay, I'm going to type a notepad and my command prompt. Both are here. And I'm going to do, this is a test by default. I'm doing some stuff here. I didn't save this file. Where is this currently? What you're seeing in front of you, where is it actually now? Can anybody tell? It's inside the RAM. Okay. It's a volatile memory. What is volatile means? RAM is actually a volatile memory. So what is volatile means? Correct. When you power down, you lose it. It's not non-volatile. Once you power it off, everything will go. Correct. So now what I'm going to do is, this is my current state. I just want to show you one of the advantages, but memory snapshots are taken typically by guys when they do troubleshooting, driver troubleshooting. Okay, snap underscore memory. And I'm doing this option, snapshot the virtual machine memory. There's another tab called quiesce the guest file system. This requires VMware tool. This quiescing means it's actually pronounced as quiescing. Okay, quiescing. I don't know, people pronounce it different way. So typically it's called as quiescing. Quiescing is kind of a technology that will pause the VM slowly for certain operations to happen. Those things, if I tell you now, you won't understand. And I think I will confuse you completely. You know, quiescing and all is actually some backup technologies. When you do backups, the VM will go through a snapshot. At that point, if it is a dynamic databases and all, you know, you have to quiesce the VM so that you will get every data. There will not be any point in time loss and all. So not going to touch that actually. That is actually part of a VMware tools. If you have VMware tools, you can actually get this quiescing work along with the VSS, volume shadow copy. So it's way outside the scope of this class, guys, so I'm not going to talk about it. But what we're going to do here is I'm taking the snapshot of the virtual machine's memory. Also, not only the memory, I'm taking the whole snapshot plus the memory, okay, not just the memory. I'm taking the snapshot of the whole VM plus the memory. Okay, it is doing that now. It's going to take a little time because it has to take that 256 MB memory. Okay, let's see it's completed or not. And again, most of you guys, don't worry about, oh, okay, Deepu is talking that, Deepu is telling that. I'm talking from my 15 years of experience, okay? When I talk about quiescing, when I'm talking about VSS, when I'm talking about device drivers or many things, I'm talking from my 15 years experience. So you don't have to expect to be talking like that, okay? So don't worry about that. Sri is a different case. Sri is working more experience than me. He knows, but for those who are learning fresh and getting into this, don't worry. This is what all you need to know. You don't need to know all the things. Okay, VMware, snapshot, those things correctly, good enough. If you know volatile memory, if you know a page file, if you know what is virtual memory, it's good. But at least when I'm telling those things, at least at least try to capture that. Don't miss that. Use those things, and you can use these things when you are doing interviews and all. You can say, you know what, we do the page memory, we do the virtual memory, we do sometimes memory snapshots. Those things you can add so that it will benefit you. That's why I'm trying to tell all these points, okay? And don't think that, oh, okay, Deepu knows that I cannot be like that. You cannot, because I'm talking from my 15, 16 years of experience. Okay, so please understand that. Don't get panic or anything. You know a lot of things. All you need to do is try to read about it and try to practice and things like this. See, when you do and see and listen to me, it looks very interesting. But when you get into the real point of doing things, you will be having problem. And tomorrow, if I ask you what is a snapshot, I can hear 20 different answers, I'm sure. So make sure that your answer is correct and its point. That's an important point, okay? Again, more than practical, I would recommend to read and make sure that you can talk. It is not possible to delete the snapshot without applying the changes. No, right thing. If you delete it, it is going to commit that changes to the original disk. That is what it is. So we have taken a snapshot with the memory now of that VM. So let us go to this VM's folder now again in the data store and refresh it. And now you can see that there are some more files here. This is the file, base disk file. This is the VMSN file. You see the size of this file now? Earlier it was only like 27, 28 KB, but now it is 267 MB. What that means is, this is also having the memory of this server. The current memory state is stored in this memory, in this VMSN file. Okay? Let's go back to the VM, and I'm going to delete this. I'm not saving this. Do you want to save changes? No. No. Oh, now I decided, my God, I wanted that memory state. I want to see that memory state. How do I get it? How can I get my notepad and the contents back? How can I get my command prompt? How can I get? So we can do that easily by going here, snapshot memory. You can go here. Currently I am here where there is nothing. So I can go to that snapshot and let us see what happens here. Look carefully. You see that? It got back everything to me. I can continue to type. I can continue to type on this. That is what a memory snapshot is. So you can take that point, but this is in the real world, it's not in actual use, but it can be used for device driver purpose and all. But you don't need a memory always, but if you want, you can do that by using this. We didn't delete the snapshot yet. So the snapshot file is still here. It's going to be here. You can see that snapshot file is still there. You didn't delete the snapshot. You reverted back, that's fine. You reverted back now, but it is there. So now you can actually delete that snapshot. You can delete. So this will consolidate. See, this is the answer. This is the answer Raiden, you asked earlier. If you delete, it will consolidate and remove all snapshot. All snapshot will be consolidated. So whatever that snapshot files will have, it will be written back to the base disk. If you do that, nothing will happen to the VM. It will be continued to do that. So now that everything is gone, and if you refresh it, you can see that the snapshots are all gone. Since we have powered off many times, you see that it created many log files. Every time you power off and power on, it creates a new log file. That's why it's going bigger and bigger. Okay, don't think that there are new files coming. Yes, there are new files are getting created. Because you are powering off and powering on. Though there is no extra file for memory snapshot, that's correct. It will be stored along with the VMSN file, which is the snapshot manager. So that is, guys, snapshot. So there are a lot of things about snapshot. Read about it, try to understand, and look into it. Okay. So that's it. I'm stopping today. I think, let us take an early break. So I think there is nothing for me to start another topic today. Tomorrow, we will be looking at three major things. We will be looking at cloning. When it comes to cloning, we'll be doing hot clones and cold clones. And then we'll also look into templates. These are all can go in together. So that is another topic. So every day we're going to look at certain things. And then Monday onwards, we'll get on to clustering. So tomorrow, definitely we have class 8:30. I already sent you the meeting invite. There is no class on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. But there is tomorrow class and we will be doing cloning. Now the thing I am sad and disappointed is, see this, I wanted this type of VMs. There is very little number of VMs. Guys, make sure that your VMs has the right OS and make it ready for this thing, because we may want to do cloning. Because I don't want Gene to clone somebody else's VM. I don't want Raiden to clone somebody else. If you want to practice, you do your own thing. Snapshots. Now snapshots, if you really want to experience a snapshot, you have to have a VM like what Sri is having. That's why we are able to see the folders. If you create a VM that does not have anything in it, basically, you can still take a snapshot, but you don't know what exactly is happening. Okay. All right. So that's it, guys. So I'm talking. Any questions I can answer. Otherwise, we'll stop.
Hey, Deepu, this
Yeah.
Sri.
Yeah.
So when you take a snapshot, I mean, it's a dumb question though. I never tried. What if you lose the original image, 20 GB file? Your snapshots will work, or it's just
No.
based on the base image?
No, if you lose means it will not work, because your VM's 99% state is still the original disk. Only the changes is there in that new snapshot disk file, correct? So if you
Right.
lose the original disk, that VM itself is gone.
Okay.
So there is no question about that.
And and I say, let's
Yeah,
say
I want to tell you one more thing. Okay, actually I'll answer it, but one more thing. This is also important thing. So basically, I was telling you all this time, you might have heard, when you do backups and all, VMware do. So in our office, we do backups every night using some other tools. We'll talk about those tools later. So I have a VM here in a data store. This is the VM's folder, and the VM has a base disk. Before I do a backup, what my backup software will do is, backup software will take a snapshot of this VM. When I take a snapshot of the VM, means it will create a new disk file, isn't it? Now, the active disk is this new disk. The original disk is free. It is no more active. So what that backup software can do is, now the backup software can attach this disk file to itself, and it will back up the contents of this. The new changes you are doing will be returned to here. Once the backup is complete, the backup software will delete that snapshot, That means all the changes in this will be returned back to the base disk. Tomorrow, same process. So in our office, in night, we have thousands of snapshots and snapshot deletions happening day and night because we take backups. If you do backups or if you do replications, this is how the backup softwares get the copy. Because if this is your active disk, no backup software can read from here. So what they do is they take a snapshot. When you take a snapshot, your active disk becomes your new disk, and then they can attach this disk and do it. Okay, so that's it. Okay, go ahead. I just wanted to add you that, just in case. So that's all advanced topics, but and every time when you delete a snapshot, it writes back every information to the base disk. At that point, the VM will go through a millisecond pause because it has to open some metadata information and all. So there are some problems in the past, but now the VMware has fixed all that. This is why these are the things where Microsoft Hyper-V and VMware you can differentiate. Means Microsoft is having snapshot, VMware is having snapshot, but the stability, when you take a snapshot and write back, how much time a VM will get paused. In VMware case, it may be in nanoseconds or in microseconds. In Windows case, it could be a second or 2 seconds. Then the VM will have performance problems. There will be disconnects. So that is the technology improvement. That is where the generation gaps makes VMware much more solid. So a lot of people, I was actually reading an article last week. There was a story about two companies. They're both manufacturing cars. But one company is a very solid company and the other company is a brand new company, something like Kia, let's take Mercedes. Both the companies says, okay, we have 4 tires, correct. Or we have steering, correct. We have wipers, correct. We have engine, we run on petrol, everything is perfect. Now it comes to, so in that case, checkbox, both check comparison, right? When we go to eBay and all, you can compare products, right? So when you compare, you can check everything. Very good. But now let us talk about how much time it can run. So the first tire, we'll take the tire, how long the tire can run. The Kia's tire may be done in maybe 2 months. Mercedes can run for 2 years. That is the kind of difference, and that is what the difference you see with the 6th generation hypervisor and the 1st or 2nd generation Hyper-V. But the Hyper-V has made a lot of changes, a lot of things, but I still feel that from a stability, performance, robustness perspective, VMware is way ahead of any other technology. Snapshots, both companies do, but you really get into the details of snapshot and see how it impacts the performance of your running virtual machine. You're talking about a real production environment where you're running critical servers. Will it affect, when you take a snapshot, does it affect your server's performance? Maybe that server may be doing a very critical credit card transaction. At that point, if the server gets paused for a second, it could be a outage. So will VMware, that is why many companies are still not confident in running Hyper-V in production because they don't know. But for a development lab environment, that is the best because it is cheaper and it is doing its job. But it may not be a good thing to run your production servers. If Fanny was there, he would have showed me, but still that is, I think, the fact. So probably that's the reason why many companies are still going with VM. Okay, so Sri, go ahead, man, your question.
One big question. Basically, like now we learn how the snapshot to take it, but some companies do regularly take snapshots in case if the server goes off, they could revert back to you to the backups they made for the snapshot. What is the process of that? Do you have to schedule the snapshots and you have to keep the snapshot files all the time?
No. Okay, so in my company, we don't use snapshot-based backups. I mean, now actually there are new technologies coming up, Commvault, TSM, Commvault, all major backup, net backup, Veritas, they are all coming up with newer technologies, and VMware also has changed their architecture a little bit. Now they are using EMC's Avamar technology. All these days they were using something called as VMware Consolidated Backup. So the technology also changed. I think these are things little deeper, Sri, but I'm not going to get into that. But they all have technologies. In our office, let me tell you how it is. We have thousands and thousands of VMs, all running Linux, and pretty much 90% are Windows. Each of them have the TSM or Veritas agent installed inside it, and they are getting backed up the same way our normal Windows servers are getting backed up. It's a file level backup. We back up them using the normal thing. Every VM has a net backup agent or a TSM agent, and it gets backed up to the TSM servers. We don't use snapshots or any kind of things to back up. Now, where do we use backups? Where do we use snapshots? Yeah, PeopleSoft team is doing some upgrade. We take a snapshot and tell them, okay, go ahead and do the upgrade. They do the upgrade, maybe in a day or two they come back, Deepu, everything looks good, we will delete the snapshot. When we delete the snapshot, what happens? Everything will return to the base disk. I have scripts written, not scripts actually, we use a third-party product called vFoglight. vFoglight is a performance monitoring, capacity planning, trending tool, costly tool, very powerful tool. I'll talk about that a little bit in the last class. So we use Foglight. Huh?
You guys don't use vRanger?
We do use vRanger. That's all. vRanger is for backup and replication. I'll talk about that. I told you, right? We have vRanger. We can take some backups also. We can use vRanger to take snapshot-based backups. But our company's general policy is to use backup is through TSM, the normal backups. But we do have that tool for certain other purposes. But basically, vRanger is not just a backup tool. vRanger is also used as replication. And we use vRanger for replication purpose. Replication means a copy of your VM will be always replicated to a DR site for disaster recovery. So every day, the changes, the deltas are getting replicated. Before replicating, the vRanger will take a snapshot, analyze the disk, look for the changes, and it throw the changes to the destination. Once the replication is complete, it will come back and delete the snapshot. Ranger do backups and replication also. So vRanger is a big product now. You know that it was actually a own company called as Vcent Core, and that was taken over by Quest. And now Quest is being taken by Dell. So Quest is now part of Dell. So you can see that it's already become Dell. Last 3 months back, Dell bought Quest. So it is no more Quest, but Quest was a very big company. So in this Quest, if you go here, you can see that vFoglight, you can see vRanger. Let me see, that is the main product, vRanger, data protection. So once you go to vRanger, if you want, I'm not going to talk about it, but since we talked about it, there is a lot of videos here itself. They have videos how this works, how this can be used. There are many screenshots here, things like that. We won't be doing it here, but you can do that. This is how it looked like. This is how it is. You can, this is the backup locations. You can see that. They are showing that picture there, but anyway, that is it. So watch these videos. These videos are pretty good. How vRanger do that. I can send you this link if you want. So vRanger is a tool that can be used for replication as well as, so you can see that vRanger Pro and vReplicate, all these things are inside the vRanger. Earlier there were two products. One was called as vReplicator, and vRanger was a pure backup tool, but now vRanger is part of it, one product. A competitor for this company is actually Veeam.com, and Veeam also has, we looked at it. Remember, Veeam. This is also a good company, VM Backup and Replication. That's the same product as vRanger. Both are pretty much doing the same thing. There are other companies also in the market, but I think they are the two good companies. But these products take snapshots and do. But when we use the normal NT-based backup, the normal backups, there is no need of a snapshot, right? If you have a physical server, how do you back up? Just back it up, right? That's the same thing we do. All right. Any other questions? Sri, what was your question? I think I answered, or did I change the topic? I don't know.
Well, you answered, but you didn't want to go deep with it, so that's fine.
What was that question?
No, I was asking what is the strategy of doing a snapshots or backups? Like in our VMware setup, if I wanted something that blown off, I can ask them to restore it. They could restore it very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay,
I never learned what backup solution they used.
No, so that is the thing. That is a company has to make a decision. See, now in my company, if any of the VM gets blown off, let's say blown away, something happened. Let's say we lost the.
Let's say blue screen of death, BSD.
Yeah, let's say the blue screen of death, and now you want to restore it. In our office today, there is no option to do that. The only option is you build a new Windows 2003 server, restore the system state from the TSM backup, and then restore the folder. That is the only way to do that. But if we have enough storage and we encourage, our company policy is, okay, let us do vRanger based backups. I could have taken vRanger based image level backup. That is called as image level backups. That is not a snapshot. That is a whole image of that VM. So if you have a 50 GB VM, yeah, vRanger and all is a very powerful tool. It uses some very complex algorithms to do compression. So a 50 GB VM can be compressed to probably around like 10 GB, 12 GB, or maybe 15 GB, depending on the type of files it is having. So you're going to have a 15 GB compressed image sitting somewhere in your location. At that point, if Sri comes and says, hey, Deepu, my VM got blue screen, can you get me a last image? It is a 2-minute process. I can get your VM ready with the same image, So that is a trade-off, whether the company wants to do it that way or the traditional way, things like that. Different companies have different policies and all. Again, I mean, I don't want to tell some of the internals of our company. We do have certain things for certain VMs. I will tell that way, but some critical VMs, because of compliance, we do keep normal backups as well as we keep image level backups. We also have a copy of our replication, So worst case, I can go to my replica, my DR site, and bring that VM back. Correct. That's again the same as of yesterday night of replication. Correct. So there are many options to do that, but
I think that's what we were doing it. I guess now I got it. I was thinking about a snapshot. I think they're using vRanger.
Yeah, but so that's correct. Image backup, but snapshots are not image backup. Snapshot is just a point in time thing, just for temporary short period. You want to do some changes, things like, because you want to preserve your good state. That is what a snapshot is. Right. But an image level backup is for future use. You blue screen or something and you want to restore. That's the thing. It's not. So a snapshot cannot be used for that. And snapshot can be used.
Right.
But the disadvantage of a snapshot is, let's say you take a snapshot today and you are continuing to work for next 6 months, and after 6 months, if there is something goes wrong, you can always go back to that 6-month-old copy. But the problem before that itself, what happens is your snapshot file will grow big, which could eat up all the storage. That could create outage. And when the snapshot is so big, if the snapshot file, that is the second VMDK file, if that disk becomes so big, when you delete it or commit it, it takes hours to write back to the original disk. So there are many drawbacks. So don't ever allow a snapshot to grow more than a GB or 2 GB. I don't allow anybody. In my office, if we see, that's why we run every day morning. I have a script running. I get a list of emails. Okay, these VMs have 7 days is what I'm checking. If a snapshot is there that is greater than 7 days, I immediately contact that server owner or the business owner and ask them, hey, why do you have this snapshot? It is 7 days old. Oh, Deepu, I forgot. I took it last day for a small change. This is very common in an environment.
Right.
That point we delete it. When you delete it, it writes back to the original disk. The user, it can be done when the business is running. There is no impact to the server. In VMware, in Windows world, I don't know, but in VMware, you understand, right? I can do that. I do that all the time in business. There is no change. Because when you are writing to the base disk from the new VMDK disk to the original disk, before writing, there is a process called stun and unstun. Stun means it actually posts the VM for a very minute second. It opens the metadata of your data store to write some metadata information about, okay, I'm deleting this disk, I'm adding this, so it has to make some changes into the to the inventory of that thing. So there is a lot of complex things happens at the back end. But that process is called stun and unstun process. Basically opens the metadata of the data store to write that information. And that is something that happens in nanoseconds, but in a large environment, in fact, we had that problems. We had one of our cluster, it's a 16 node cluster, which is running probably around 400, 500 VMs. And all these VMs get snapshotted at the same time or maybe in a very particular time for replication. And when the replication over, it deletes the snapshot. So you're talking about 300, 400 snapshot deletions happening at the same time in the night across 16 servers. And these 16 servers are holding 400 VMs. These 400 VMs are sitting on probably 10 or 15 LUNs. Now these 15 LUNs are hammering at that point because everybody wants to open the metadata. That time, we have seen that some of our VMs have to wait longer because somebody else, there's a locking mechanism there. At a point in time, only one person can modify the metadata. So that time, there are other VMs waiting for that metadata to get, and that created disconnects. We had major outages, so then we discovered that, and then that's when we started buying the new vMax, because VMware has a new feature called VAAI, VMware Array Storage, VAAI, VMware Array, VMware API for array configuration. That's what VAAI means. It's a new technique they're using. They changed that LUN level locking to a block level locking and all. It's a new technology which is only available on the new storage arrays. So if you have the CX4 or maybe the new VNX or VMAX, they have that features, but the older arrays does not support those features. So these are all techniques the companies do, man. That's how they sell the product. Oh, Deepu, you have this problem? Buy this. That's how they do. Now I go to find another $1 million to buy that because end of the day it's business, right?
Yeah, I know.
So that's how it is. All right. So replication, we'll talk about it later, man.
Deepu, I have one question.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, for example, if you blow the VM after, a snapshot is being scheduled, does it also blow the snapshot as well, or only the VM?
When you blow off the VM means what?
if it is deleted.
If you're deleting a VM means so I created this new VM, right? And now I'm going to take a snapshot of this VM. Okay, when a VM is powered off, there's another thing. When a VM is powered off, there is no memory snapshot, okay? If you're going to do a snapshot, there is no memory because when a VM is powered off, there is no memory. You see that? It is turned off, okay? So now this VM has a snapshot, agreed? Aravind? Where is this snapshot is stored? The snapshot is stored along with the VM. Now if you delete this VM, you're going to delete everything inside that. You're going to delete everything inside that folder. New virtual machine, because you can see that a snapshot file is here. See, when you delete it, it is going to delete everything. Let's see what happens. It's gone. Now if you go to this data store, you don't even see that folder. So if you're asking that, that's the case. But I think what you asked is not that probably. You have a snapshot, and if you delete, this is the same thing Sri asked earlier. You have a snapshot disk file here, and if you delete this disk file, what happens? If you delete this disk file, you're gone because only some changes are here. The base disk is still this. So if you lose this disk, your VM is pretty much gone. You cannot do anything. But the chance for getting this thing deleted and all is absolutely not possible, unless otherwise somebody logged in and explicitly delete. Otherwise, I don't think anybody can delete that file. Okay, so guys, let us stop here today. I'm feeling so tired, so let's meet tomorrow and talk. But please read about it and come back with questions if you have. Okay.